Well, now that was me and Billy D. And I didn't, of course, believe that he was Billy D because I overheard Mr. Jefferson trying to hire this lookalike. But I didn't overhear Billy D really call him back. So when he came, you know. So I had to give him my little test. So I had bought my blue dress, and then, of course, I didn't put on my blue dress, and they came out all dressed up, and I came out in a robe and a scarf on my head. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And so I gave them a little quiz. And Lady Sings the Blues. Did she wear her flower on the right side or the left side? And of course, he doesn't know what's going on. And he said to me, I've never done comedy. I said, don't do comedy now. I said, I seriously don't think you are who you are. And you seriously don't know what's wrong with me. So that's the way we played it. And of course, that's become one of the most famous episodes of the Jeffersons.
It's time to sit down with someone you know. It's time for Debor'ah, bringing you the stars, the stories, and the performances. So stay tuned for a great show with Debor'ah. The Debor'ah Show is brought to you in part by L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, Ohio. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, honoring the legacy of life.
Thank you.
And as
Happy
you can
to be
see,
here.
Thank you. And as you can see from all the faces that are here, I think you've got a grand fan club here in this area. We love the Jeffersons, we love 227, and we love Marla Gibbs.
And I love you.
Miss Gibbs, how long have you been acting?
Oh, child, let's see. 1972, because I'm 30 now. And shortly after I moved to Los Angeles.
And what prompted you to move to L.A.? Uh-oh.
A marriage that, let's say, was not working.
Okay. But you ran into good fortune once you got to L.A.
Yes, I did.
Now, I've read a lot of things and seen things on TV and heard stories about just how difficult it is to break into the entertainment industry and how competitive it is. What was it like for you?
Well, since I didn't know any of those things, when I moved to L.A., I was more interested. I moved because I was transferred United Airlines from Detroit
to
L.A. I was working for the airlines. And so we got a lot of air freight because we were employees. And so that helped a lot with the transition. And of course, when I got there, everything was just kind of laid out for me. And as I went along, I thought about getting into workshops and taking my daughter to a community workshop. And I was told there was one over in Watts. And that was PASLA, Performing Arts Society of Los Angeles. And they said Tatanisha from room 222 came from there, and a couple of other people who were in the business. So we went over and paid $3 for our clipboard and got some of the best training in the world. Oh, wow. And then we met Roger Mosley at that workshop, and we went over, as you know, Roger Mosley played on Magnum P.I. And we went over to Mafundi workshop along with him and a couple of instructors who are well known, like Raymond St. Jacques. And from there, we got into plays.
So you really trained with the best of the best.
Well, really, that's what happens. Even though the best of the best may not always be known, they're excellent instructors. And they have had the training and sometimes have performed, but nobody knows them because they were not stars, so to speak. Our instructor's name was Dahabu, and we didn't know it, but he was just a person in the advanced acting class. And we thought he was great. He was one of the greatest instructors we had because he learned well. From there, I wanted to take my daughter down and see if she would get, interested and give her something to do after school.
So this was more for your daughter than it was for you?
Yeah, but I was smitten. I found out that I was bitten by the bug, and I just enjoyed getting off from work and flying down there to Mafundi with my daughter, and we were doing the exercises. And then comes a time when you think you're a professional.
Okay.
And so we go out and we're looking to get on television. And every time we hear something is going on, we would sneak on the lot and go from office to office.
And what would you do from office to office?
Well, we had our pictures, and we said, well, we'd like to know if you're casting for anything. And someone would let us in, some wouldn't. We were not deterred. But as I know now, you know, when you understand that God is your partner,
Right.
and you and God, you have all this at your disposal, that you can do and be anything that you want to do and be, because God has already promised you, I've given you everything. So now it's a matter of people stepping out on the promise and not stop listening to other people's opinions.
That's good.
Because if you think it's hard, it's hard. If you think it's easy, you'll find a way to get around it, and it won't be hard. In the meantime, you do whatever it is you're doing to take care of whatever bills you need to take care of, but never let go of your dream.
So what kinds of things did you have to do in order to maintain while you were pursuing your dream?
Well, since I was working for United, I stayed there. I was there 2 years.
You kept your day job.
Yes, I did, because I know that a bird in the hand is worth 20 in the bush. So I stayed. When I got the show, I had 7 out of 13 episodes. Well, you know, there's a lot more weeks than that in the year. And so we do 26 shows. So I might get 14 shows altogether. So I didn't see any reason to give up my airline job, where I had unlimited passes and my daughter was trying to go to college. And I could send her back and forth on my passes. And I had my little salary. So they came up to me one day and the producer said, "You still have that job?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Well, we thought you had quit." I said, "Well, you haven't told me anything to make me quit. Do you have something to tell me?" They said, "Well, we don't want you to be tired." I said, "I'm not tired." You know, because I'm off 5 months out of the year. You're on hiatus. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't see any reason why I couldn't be working. So they said, "Well, would you take a leave of absence if no, would you take a leave of absence? Would you consider that?" I said, "If you pay me."
Great negotiator.
They said, "Well, how much do you make?" So I went and counted up my little money, and I said, "Oh, God, this is embarrassing." I went and gave it to them, and they paid me. So after 90 days, I decided that if you only stretch one leg, you can only go as far as that one leg can stretch.
That's good.
If you want to really go someplace, you got to take both legs with you. So I said, I'll give it a shot. And so I resigned from United, but not before I asked them, "Wouldn't you like for me to do PR for you?" I'm off every 5 months. But they didn't say yes, because American has to do everything first before United does it. So anyway, I left, and of course I've never been sorry. I don't have to stand by when I'm traveling.
You know, this begs the question, did your daughter continue in acting?
Yes, my daughter was acting first. She was on Sanford and Son, and she was in the movie Cleopatra Jones, and she had her own dressing room. And of course, my other daughter here is not interested in acting. She's a great businesswoman.
Yes, she is.
She had her own dressing room, and I was dressing in corners in basements. And she said, "Oh, come into my dressing room." And I said, "Oh." And so she was on Sanford Son and Cleopatra Jones. She had her own trailer, and so it was great. But then she decided that acting wasn't relevant, because at that time she was into the revolution.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, really?" So she went off to Howard University. And when she came back, of course, nobody knows you. I don't care what you've done.
If you don't stay
when
with
you
it.
get out of it, you're out of it. So now, of course, her passion is directing. And so she's acting and directing.
So,
and if you saw, come back mine. I'm 30, but my mind is so active. Drumline.
okay.
If you saw Drumline,
yes.
she played the mother. In Drumline,
Oh.
she played his mother.
Yes, yep.
She had the locks.
Give kudos to your daughter, because one day we'll get her to sit in this chair too. Is that right, Giselle? We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from the marvelous Marla Gibbs. Right back after this.
The Deborah Show is brought to you in part by Four Seasons Home Remodeling and Repair. When raindrops fall, give Dan a call at Four Seasons.
And we're back with Marla Gibbs. So glad to have you.
Thank
now,
you.
Everybody, of course, has enjoyed the different shows that you've been the star of, and even though we know that you had co-stars with you on The Jeffersons, we can't call you, what you call it, a secondary part or a supporting actress because...
Well, actually, I was number 9.
You're kidding.
I worked my way up to number 3. But Isabel Sanford, as most people know, was the star of the show, and Sherman Hemsley was the co-star, and we were supporting cast.
Even though we know that that was the order of things, I mean, how could you get around Florence? I got to tell you first what my favorite episode was of The Jeffersons, and then I'd like you to talk to us about, what that whole piece was like doing for you, or for you to do. I love the one where you had discovered that you had it. Anybody remember that one? Where George Jefferson, he was trying to encourage you because you were feeling so down about yourself. And he told you, Florence, you really have something. You have it. And for the rest of the show, you had
Then
it.
he told me to take it and go in the kitchen and get yourself. Now take it and go in the kitchen and get me something to eat.
So what was your favorite episode of The Jeffersons?
Well, now that was me and Billy D. And I didn't, of course, believe that he was Billy D because I overheard Mr. Jefferson trying to hire this lookalike. But I didn't overhear Billy D really call him back. So when he came, So I had to give him my little test. So I had bought my blue dress, and then, of course, I didn't put on my blue dress, and they came out all dressed up, and I came out in a robe and a scarf on my head. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And so I gave them a little quiz. And Lady Sings the Blues. Did she wear her flower on the right side or the left side? And of course, he doesn't know what's going on. And he said to me, I've never done comedy. I said, don't do comedy now. I said, I seriously don't think you are who you are. And you seriously don't know what's wrong with me. So that's the way we played it. And of course, that's become one of the most famous episodes of The Jeffersons.
Okay, now let's talk about 227. And here again, I'll give my favorite because I get that opportunity to be in the host.
Yes, you do.
I love the one where Lester was sick and he was ringing that bell. And you got tired of that bell.
Now, on that one, they really wanted Sandra to be sick and ring the bell. And I said, no. I said, every woman understands what a baby her husband gets to be when he's sick.
Yeah.
I said, but let Sandra come down because she's the antagonist. Let her give them this bell, so I want to kill her too. And so he'd ring it, and I finally got the hammer and nail that sucker shut. So he couldn't ring it. And of course, we had Billy D on that show too, twice. We did Play It Again, Stan.
Okay, yeah.
Which was off of
Casablanca.
Casablanca, thank you. And of course, the outfit I wore was the same outfit Ingrid Bergman wore. The set was the same set that was Casablanca. Of course, the people weren't the same.
They didn't look the same
And
either.
the piano followed us everywhere. And Billy D played my husband, but he wanted to play Rick.
Okay.
But Hal wasn't having it. Hal was playing Rick. So he said, I should have been Rick. So we had a ball with that.
I'm sure. What was your favorite episode out of it? Was that the one? Your favorite?
I think that one, and there's so many. Then I wrote 2 or 3 of them. I wrote The Homeless Show, and I wrote the show where the young man died from a drug. I got killed. He was selling drugs.
So what prompted you to want to write those particular things?
Because I wanted things to be real. 227 was a show that I wanted the masses to be able to reflect on and learn something from and give something to. So we touched on a lot of subjects. I know Ted Hayes is an activist in Los Angeles who has chosen to live on the street with the homeless.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wanted him as my guest. We actually brought homeless people in. All the people on that show that played homeless were homeless, except for a couple of people that played extras all the time. And the first thing they did was give them a bath and give them some food and change their clothes. I said, no!
Duh!
But I'm telling you, they were so excited about being on the show. They said, I could do this all the time. And they were good. And so I said, if the industry could take some of the, and let them be extras, especially when they need extra people, you know, because sometimes they hire day players or whatever who are not even in the union. But somebody who played an extra said, you know, they can't be taking our jobs. People are so selfish. You know, they don't realize we need to get these people off the street. So anyway, I did it for that reason. And then the other show, the boy that looks like the boy next door, he was well-dressed. He was driving a nice car. He's going to public school, and I wanted my kids to go to public school so that we could explore what goes on. And so my daughter and them, they liked him, and he came by the house. Well, he got Curtis. Curtis is his real name. He got Calvin to hold this bag. And we discovered it was a bag of money for some drugs. And so I tried to go talk to his mother and told her we thought. And of course she tells me off and she puts me out. I want to tell her that we thought he was doing drugs and she needs to check him. Well, she tells me off, puts me out. And then we're having a PTA meeting. What do you call it? A neighborhood watch meeting. And she comes in crying. He's been killed. And she said, I got another one at home. He's 11. Somebody tell me what to do. And I said, that's why we want to end it.
That's good.
Because America is asking, what can I do? There's no answer yet to that except get involved. So that's where we ended it.
I'll tell you what. Are we ready to hear some sweet sounds from Marla Gibbs? We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to have singing from the marvelous Marla Gibbs. And we're back on the Valley Gold Show, and as promised, we're going to hear from Marla Gibbs' new CD, It's Never Too Late. Miss Marla Gibbs.
As long as you breathe, you'd better believe it's never too late for life. Drop all that fear, 'cause as long as you're here, it's never too late for life. Dream your dreams, scheme your schemes, living your life is the way. You cannot borrow from tomorrow. You only get one day. So don't give me the blues, 'cause I've got good news. It's never too late for life. Start being bold and stick to your goal. Forget all that stress and strife. Just keep the faith and trust your heart, but use your head now. That being said, it's never too late for life. It's never too late for life. It's never too late for life. So dream your dreams and scheme your schemes. Living your life is the way. You cannot borrow from tomorrow. You only get one day. So don't give me the blues, 'cause I've got good news. It's never too late for life. Start being bold and stick to your goal. Forget all that stress and strife. Just keep the faith and trust your heart, but use your head, 'cause that's being smart. It's never too late for life. And with some help from above, lots of help from above, it's never too late for love.
It's time to sit down with someone you know. I'm Deborah Benton, and I'd like you to join me on my website. Log on to thedeborahshow.com and you'll get great info. Find out who's next on the show, and you can even get audience tickets from the site. To check out my blog, get my international broadcast schedule, or to order products, log on to thedeborahshow.com. If you'd like to be a guest, or if you just want to share your opinion, visit me online at thedeborahshow.com. Let's keep the party going.
Is the fabulous Marla Gibbs. Make sure you tune into the show on WKBN TV 27 and also buy the CD. It's Never Too Late for Life. It's available at Barnes & Noble. Miss Marla Gibbs, thank you so much. That's it for the Valley Gold Show. Bye-bye.
Starting today, we must pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and begin again the work of remaking America. Come on now, come on now.
It's another day and I've got the blues, but it can't fade me. Life is not a game you win or lose, so it ain't playing me. And I know if I just think positive, it's gonna be alright.